Next, subtraction also not changed as it is. Multiplication not changed as it is. From remaining year onwards changed. Division, you'll write like this, but new style div you can write. Modular division, you'll write like this, new style mod you can write. Modular division. Right is all. So in expressions we use generally operators. In expressions we use operators. In expressions generally we use operators. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modular division. But 3 operators as it is, and 2 operators changed. Div, mod, division, modular division. So it is division, it is modular division. We'll write like this, but here changed div, mod. Words you can write. Words you can write. Less than, LT. Less than, greater than, GT. Less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. Less than or equals to. Greater than or equals to. So like this changed. Equals to. Not equals to. Logical and. So like this new style they developed. Logical or. Logical not. Like this. So operators are changed. So instead of writing these operator symbols, we can write these words. So these words we can write. Div, mod, lt, gt, le, ge. Like this we can write. Is it over? Say logical and, logical or, logical not. Is it over? So words we can write. Words. Now Eclipse old version 2021 3. This is Eclipse for Java. So they installed core Java application only possible here. 1 minute. At least Tomcat also not there. See, this is expression. This is expression. Expression language, nothing but like this. This is expression language. Okay. Suppose here I'll write 10 plus 5, 15. So like this, I'm writing 10 plus 10 minus 5. See, 10 multiplication 5. These three we cannot change, but you can write like this: division. You can write modular division. Now you can add HTML code, HTML body, BG color, level 1 heading. Say level 1 heading close, HTML body close, HTML close. Say these three operators not changed: addition, subtraction, multiplication not changed, division, modular division changed. You can write like this. So even that is also works. Symbol also works. This one also works. File, save. That is where it is. 1 minute. The location. Here change placed. Web apps root. Here demo.jsp. Save. Now I'll run this program. 8085 they given. Okay, 1 minute. Demo.jsp. Now see, they given 8085. That's what port number 8085 given. See, in this program, if you want next line, you can use line break. Like this. File, save. By default, expression language enabled. If you want to disable, how to disable? This is expression language. See, new style of programming. Okay. Write this one first. Example. So addition, subtraction, multiplication not changed as it is. Okay. But division, modular division changed. You can write division operator also, div word also. Is it over? By default, expression language enabled. To disable expression language, what we have tried? Already online student, one student given an answer. Note down. Now I'll explain. By default, note down. By default, expression language is enabled in JSP. To disable expression language in a JSP, use the following. What will write? To disable expression language in a JSP, use the following. We already studied somewhere. We studied page directive, no? In page directive, an attribute was there. Is EL ignored equal to true. Then disabled. To disable expression language in a JSP, use the following. To disable expression language in a JSP, use the following. To disable expression language in a JSP, use the following. So if you write like this, expression language doesn't work in a JSP. If you write like this, expression language doesn't work. Is it over? So by default, expression language is enabled. To disable expression language, use this. Is EL ignored? Here, false will be there. You have to write true. By default, false. Ignored false means enabled. Ignored true means disabled. Ignored true. It is ignored. Doesn't work. Ignored false. Nothing but enabled. Okay. Now, is it over? Say. Suppose that line I'll write here. Page is EL ignored equal to true. Then if I run, what will happen? See, same as it is output comes. Say disabled. Now as it is output coming. That is not evaluated. This data not evaluated. So this is a remote. Now it will work. See, evaluated. Okay. Not only this one, you can use other symbols also. Suppose 10 less than 5, 10 greater than 5. So less than LE, LT, greater than GT, less than or equal to LE, equals to EQ. Okay, not equal to NE. These all less than or equal to LE, greater than or equal to GE, like that. Suppose LT less than and suppose 5 or 10 greater 10, suppose 10 greater than 5 and 10 less than 5, 10 greater than suppose 3. If I write, observe, and also use it. File, save. It is going to return true or false. See, false, true, false, true, true. Now, less than 5, false, greater than 5, true, equal to 5, false, not equal to 5, true. 10 greater than 5 and 10 greater than 3, true, true and true, true. Okay, write this one also. Their extra socket. Say LT means less than, GT means greater than, EQ means equals, NE means not equal. Here logical and true and true. It will be true. The type. Is it over? So this is expression language, but here also some concepts are there. Note on JSPEL, implicit object references. JSPEL, implicit object references. JSPL, implicit object references. First one, page scope. Second one, request scope. Third one, session scope. Fourth one, application scope. S capital, no space. Param, init param, cookie. 7 object references. These 7 implicit object references. Page scope, request scope, session scope, application scope, param, init param, cookie. Page scope, request scope, session scope, application scope, param, init param, cookie. This P capital, this S, these all capital. Okay. And no space between words. While teaching bean, scope equal to page, request, session, application I given. What's the difference also you'll understand today. Now, first to 4 I'll explain. First to 4. This is only one application. Note on first one, page scope. It is used to retrieve page scope attributes. Same style, remaining all. Request scope. It is used to retrieve request scope attributes. Session scope. It is used to retrieve session scope attributes. Application scope. It is used to retrieve application scope attributes. So page scope, for page scope only, what is the difference? I'll explain. page scope, request scope, session scope, application scope. Oh, is it on? Like instance variable scope, class variable scope. You studied no variable scope like that only here also in JSP scope. Say you studied instance variables and class variable scope is based on access modifiers, private, protected, public, default. Like that here we have page scope, request scope, session scope, application scope. What's the difference? I'll show you. But first, how to set the attribute, how to set the scope, I'll explain. Say jakarta.saulet.jsp page. One interface is there. JSP context, one class. One class is there. Page context, JSP context. Here we have scope, setting scope, page scope, say page scope, request scope, session scope, application scope. These all. We have public static final integer application scope. Like this we have. Now, node jakarta.saulet.jsp.js page context, or which one? JSP context. It is page context. These are variables like page context. In this class, variables are fields. Public static final integer page underscore scope. Public static final integer request underscore scope. Public static final integer session underscore scope. Public static final integer application underscore scope. Page scope, request scope, session scope, application scope. jakarta.saulet.jsp.page context. Variables, fields. Page scope, request scope, session scope, application scope. Over. These are all public static final integers. JSP context. One more class is there. Method. Set attribute. What are these? With the diagrams, I'll explain. With the diagrams, I'll explain. What's the difference between these four also? I'll explain with the diagram. Page context is one class. JSP context is one more class. 1 minute. JSP context. In this, one method is there. Set attribute with scope. This is public abstract void. This one. Write this one. It is name of the attribute. It is value of the attribute. It is scope. So this is name of the attribute. It is value of the attribute. It is scope of the attribute. Is it on? Say this is name. This is value. Here name of the attribute. It is name of the attribute. It is value of the attribute. It is scope of the attribute. You write it. That software not working. 1 minute, otherwise download. Now, this one name, this one value, this one scope. It is name of the attribute. It is value of the attribute. It is scope of the attribute. One more thing, JSP context is a superclass for page context. Page context. Method is available in JSP context. Set attribute method is available here. Page context, JSP context. Page context is a subclass of JSP context. Now, this set attribute method, can I call with page context object? Yes or no? Superclass method with subclass object. Can we access? Yes. But page context reference already present. JSP implicit objects, how many are there? 9. JSP EL 7. JSP implicit object references 9. What are those? Remembered or forgot? Out. Next. Request. Next. Response. Config. Context not there. Application. Application. Page. Next. Exception. Exception. Next. 2 more. Session. Next. I'm waiting for last one. That is only required. You given remaining all except that one. Exception over already. Page context is that is required. So actually that purpose I am waiting. That is given last. See, page context is a reference of page context. So this reference is implicitly present. That name is page context only. P capital. This is P capital. That is P small letter. With that we can access this one. There we can pass name, value, scope. These scopes are integers. These scopes are integers. We can pass here. See, I'll set. Suppose in this program only, I'll set. Now for setting, scriptlet required. But scriptlet with JSTL you can replace. JSTL I didn't explain. That's what scriptlet. Here, page context is a reference of page context. Page context is a reference of page context. With this, I'm calling set attribute. Set attribute method is in superclass. JSP context. A name, value, you can pass. Suppose some name, book 1, value. Suppose head first Java. This scope. Now scope integers. Those integers are instance variables or class variables or local variables. You see the variables, page scope, request scope, variables. Those all instance variables or class variables or local variables. Class variables. You have to call with class name. Class name is page context, page scope. Like this will set. Okay. Like this only. One is request scope, one is session scope, one is application scope. I'll set. something book 2, book 3, book 4. Other names I'll write. Okay. Let's written. Scope I'll change. This is I'll write request scope. This is I'll set session scope. This is I'll set application scope. Okay. Now, like this, say book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. Book 1 scope is page scope. Book 2 scope is request scope. Book 3 scope is session scope. Book 4 scope is application scope. These all I want to retrieve. Then expression language. Now, here, page scope dot book 1. It is new style. Like this you can access. Here, next, dollar request scope dot book 2. Dollar session scope dot book 3. Line break. Dollar application scope book 3, book 4. Like this I'm printing. Say this one, if you want to write in a previous JSP, then you have to write like this, no? Like this, this one not possible. Page context only required. Page context dot get attribute name book 1. See, this is old style. This is old style. Say page context dot get attribute book 1. This like this you have to write. But new style, page scope dot book 1. That's it. Request scope dot book 2. Session scope dot book 3. See, file, save. If I refresh, see, you're getting all books, no? But what's the difference? I'll give it with a diagram. First write this program. I'll explain with a diagram. So the book 1 scope is page scope. Book 2 scope is request scope. Book 3 scope is session scope. Book 4 scope is application scope. What's the difference? I'll explain. It's just like a private, protected, public, default, that type only. Is it over? Now, what's the difference? I'll explain with the diagrams. Is it over? Say, it is just like a private, protected, public, default. Say, instance variable scope is based on access modifiers. If private variable is there, what is that scope? Within the class. Protected default is there within the package. Protected is there within the package we can access. Outside the package also, if it is subclass. Public, anywhere, no restriction. Okay, no restriction. Here also that type concept only. Suppose assume 4 JSPs. Assume 4 programs are there. These program names are page1.jsp, page2.jsp, page3.jsp, page4.jsp. Let us assume. Now, from here to here, suppose forward. Assume here forward is there. Okay. Year to year, suppose redirect. Redirect. Year to year also redirect. Redirect. Now, suppose here login is there. You will log in here. Here you will log out. These all programs in a one WAR file. Assume these all programs in a one WAR file. It's a WAR file. .WAR file. Suppose whatever you written previous program, no, that program nothing but page1.jsp. Okay. Now I'll ask some questions. Give me answer. If I forward request and response of this JSP forwarded to this JSP or new JSP, new request and response created. Request and response of this JSP forwarded to second JSP. Here, new request comes or this request only comes in redirecting. What is that? New request comes. Okay. Now session variables can we access here? Here, session, when session is created, session tracking methods you studied, no? HTTP session HS equal to request dot get session created, time interval after that vanished, or invalidate method value out vanished, login nothing but session creation, logout nothing but invalidate. Now session variable, session created here, session logged out here. Okay. Session created here. Session created here, session logged out here. Okay. Now session you can access here also, here also, here also, but here logged out, not possible. Now here book one. Book one scope is what are given? Page scope. That means within the page only can access. Book one can be accessed. Book one can be accessed in page 1.jsp only because its scope is page scope. Okay. Book 2 can be accessed. Here, book 2. Same request coming to page 2 or new request coming? In book page 3, new request. That means page 1 we can access, page 2 we can access. Page 1.jsp and page 2.jsp. Because its scope is request scope. So as long as request is there, you can access. Book 3 can be accessed. Page 1, page 2, page 3. Page 2.jsp and page 3.jsp. Because its scope is session scope. Book 4 can be accessed in all JSPs in that WAR file because its scope is application scope. That's the difference. Right, this one. Book 1 page scope within the page only. Book 2 request scope. As long as request is available, up to that you can access. Book 3 session scope. As long as session is available, up to that you can access. Now, same concept, question, different angle, I'll ask, you have to give the answer. First, is it over? Book 1 can be accessed in page 1.jsp only because its scope is page scope. Book 2 can be accessed in page 1.jsp and page 2.jsp because its scope is request scope. Book 3 can be accessed in page 1, page 2 and page 3 because its scope is session scope. Book 4 can be accessed in all JSP pages in the WAR file because its scope is application. So entire application you can access. Over. Same concept, question, different angle, I'll ask. In a page 1.jsp, how many books we can access? Think yourself and give answer. Question, different angles. In page 1, how many books we can access? One, 4. First majority people given 1. Later they changed. How many? All we can access. Okay. Page 2, how many we can access? Page 3, page 1, page 4, 1. Which book we can access here? Book 4. Book 4 we can access. Application scope. Say book 1. Book 1, how many pages you can access? Only page 1. Book 2, page 1 and page 2. Book 3, page 1, page 2, page 3. Book 4, all pages. In page 1, how many books we can access? All books. Page 2, 3 books. What are those? Book 2, book 3, book 4. In page 3, 2 books. What are those? Book 3, book 4. In page 4, 1 book. Which book? Book 4. Like that. So, the same here, page scope. Page scope nothing but within the page only. So, book 1 scope is page scope. Within this page only we can access. Outside of the page, not possible. Book 2 scope is request scope. Request scope nothing but as long as request is available, up to that available. Whenever we forward, same request passed or new request passed. That's what we can access. In redirecting, same request or new request. That's what not possible. Here only ended. Okay. Book 3 scope is session scope. As long as session is available. Here logged in, here logged out. In between you can access. Login means session created. Logout means session ended. Okay. So here book page 1, page 2, page 3. Book 4 scope is not restricted. Entire application. Anywhere you can access. No restriction. That is book 4. Now book 1 like a private. Okay, but don't write like that because that concept, that scope is different. This scope within the class only, within the page only, like that. But here subclass concept also not there. That's what, don't write, leave it. Book 1, page scope means within the page. Request scope means as long as request is available. Session means as long as session is available. Application means entire application. That's the difference. Okay. Now, these 4 completed. Next one, param. Fifth one, param. It is used to get request parameters. It is used to get request parameters. It is used to get request parameters. Suppose here login.html. Here login.jsp. Assume. Here username, password, submit button. Okay. Now here username, password, it is submit button. When I click on submit button, this program should execute. Now here you'll enter some username. Here you'll enter some password. For this box, we'll write some names. This is one name. This is one name. We'll write something uname, something p word. Like this, we'll write this uname and p word. What are these? Give me answer. Uname and p word are called request parameter names. Okay. This ABC and XYZ something, these are called request parameter values. Okay. Request parameter values. Request parameter values. Okay. This username and password is called labels. These are requests. These are just labels. Now, if you want to retrieve these all, what we have to write in JSP before expression language. Before expression language, if you want to retrieve, get parameter method in request. So how to call? String s equal to request dot get parameter. Parameter name something uname. Like this. Like this, we'll write string s equal to request dot get parameter uname. But this line in which element will write? Scriptlet or declaration or expression? This line in which element will write? Scriptlet or declaration or expression? Which one? Scriptlet. But scriptlet, if you want to replace JSTL required. Till I didn't explain JSTL. But if you write expression, it will print. Suppose if you write like this, request dot get parameter. Parameter name is uname. Like this, if you write, what will happen? It is printed. It is printed. This one you can replace with expression language. What you can do? Dollar open brace param dot uname. Dollar open brace param dot p word. It is new style. But if you want to store in a string variable, JSTL required. That is, we'll see tomorrow class. That is. Right, this one. So new style of programming with expression language. Param dot uname, param dot p word. This is the use of param. Tomorrow init param, cookie, I'll explain. After that, JSTL. By Saturday, it will finish. Still 4 classes. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. JSTL, MVC, Reflection API. JSTL MVC reflection API. With that, it will finish. So param.uname, param.pivot, new style. Otherwise, expression you have to write, and get parameter method you have to call. Request.get parameter. Is it over? We'll see continuation tomorrow.